What is up, guys? Orbital-Pilot back here once again in the world of Warthunder, this time taking the sky in the A7M. So before we get started in this new up-tier video, first things first, I would like to say that I have a cold right now, and my voice is definitely in the process of losing itself, so if I don't sound completely normal, that is why. Hopefully I won't lose it all the way, and you know, because it's not easy to record videos, obviously, when you have no voice, so yeah, hopefully that won't last long. So, the A7M up tiered to 4.0. Is it still able to perform against things? The answer to that is absolutely. In fact, it's more than capable. In some cases, it's even still a seal clubber. And not as much as it used to be, but as we can see there, if a bomber is ever doing that real quick, just put some shots into him. Don't use cannon, use MG, because chances are he's trying to rip off his wings. And as long as you get a single hit, you should get the kill. So that was quite an easy kill right there. So in this match, we are facing the Americans. Now when you face the Americans at a 4.0 battle rating, you will typically face P-51s, P-47s, XP-50s, P-63s, and it's normally a SEAL club in this plane still. Not because the American planes are not capable of, you know, actually being able to fight. It's just that the pilots are not quite on par with what they normally are. So, sadly enough, you won't oftentimes lose. And I say that, but what I really mean is that you will often not get a lot of good fights because they will try to turn fight you. And although this plane is no A6M, it still turns with an 18-second turn time. So, an absolutely magnificent turn time. And this P-51 that's coming in right here, he really tries. He does get some very nice shots into my right wing. However, he's not able to keep up with the dive, and I take him out right here. Alright, so that is my second kill for this match, and this match actually did start off fairly well, with 2 kills, not bad in a 4.0 plane. And really, the only thing that I don't like about this plane are the cannons. Now, you just saw there that the cannons did absolute work. However, time and time again, I will come back and say that the Japanese 20mm are some of my least favorite millimeters in the game. I'm sorry, my cannons in the game. And the reason for that is the low fire rate. It has an extremely low fire rate. The velocity is not that good. And compared to Hispanos, which are, you know, what I'm used to firing, they feel like an absolute slug. So, moving on with the match, here's where I make my mistake. So, I see a P-47 high, I see a P-47 low, I see a P-25 low, and really, when you fight Americans and you can't see the whole team, don't dive down if you cannot see the whole team down there, because chances are they will still be hovering around 4,000 to 5,000 meters. The only advantage you have once you lose all of your altitude and speed is, of course, turn fighting. However, if you even have a halfway competent P-47 pilot, or even a P-51, they will easily be able to, you know, zoom and boom you. Because you really have no chance against a P-47 that's booming in at 470 miles an hour when you're going, you know, let's say just 290. This plane really maxes out at about 310 miles an hour on tech. So, I'm not going to be able to keep up with this P-47 here, like I said. However, because of his really weird maneuvers, he's going to lose speed far faster than me. The P-47 is a very heavy plane, and he's just not going to be able to keep up speed in these maneuvers. I do see what he's doing. He's trying to bring me to his, you know, cargo ships and destroyers. So good move on his part. However, it's just not going to work this time. And this is where I want to talk about the wing-mounted cannons. I hate wing-mounted cannons. Now, most planes do have them, especially if you have MGs. Most of them are mounted on the wings. The problem is not the firepower, it's the convergence range. So the further you have the guns set from the nose of the aircraft, the more you have to worry about that convergence range. For instance, if you go back to one of my A-26 Invader planes, you will see that that plane has MGs mounted extremely far away from each other. So if you want to take out pillboxes, you have to get right into that convergence range. And that can be a huge pain in the butt. That's what happened there, and that's why I'm not able to secure the kill. Alright, so with the new heat update to Warthunder, it brings some new changes to the way this plane actually overheats and loses heat. So when you overheat your engine, which is very hard to do in this plane. I mean, like, I very rarely have the timer come on. And when you do, just turn it back to 100% for probably 10 to 15 seconds, and you will be out of the amber and back into the white. So this plane really has no engine performance problems. It's not like the BF-109s where you can lose your cooling. I mean, you can lose your cooling, but it's not that easy. The engine performance is honestly great compared to what you're fighting. Now, the P-47s are going to be faster in a straight line, and I do not recommend taking a P-47 head-on. However, I did have quite a bit of confidence that I was going to be able to move out of the way. So, I was willing to take that risk. So, talking about gun performance, if you have the cannons lined up in convergence range, yeah, it doesn't end well for planes. Not at all. However, those cannon shells are not easy to hit, especially with the low velocity rate, low muzzle velocity. These cannons are, they're not weak. If you get them to connect, they will destroy stuff like that. It's the getting them to connect part that is not that easy. So, back on engine performance, P-47s will be able to outrun you. In fact, most American planes will. However, it's the dive performance of this plane that is just ridiculous. I have been able to hit 500 miles an hour in this. Now, that may not seem like, you know, something crazy. However, I am in a Japanese prop, and I am hitting 500 miles an hour. So that is absolutely crazy. And you know, props to, I'm not sure if that was historically correct, but you know, props to the Japanese for that. So guys, in conclusion, is this plane still flyable? Easily. This is still a great plane for grinding, and if you want to grind up that line, go ahead, buy this. You'll have a great time and a great plane. So guys, sorry about my voice, but if there's anything that you could recommend to me, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.